Hello everyone, this is the Underdog, and I wanted to cover 3 articles from Bound Again to Comics, which are about Dana Schwartz. So now she is a Marvel writer, and she is currently writing She-Hulk. And there are 3 incidents now in, I would say, the last week that have basically made her out to be a target for criticism, at least in my opinion. So she claims that toxic fans are gatekeeping. So let's read some of the tweets. I'm going to put all of the 3 articles in the description below, but I'm going to cover the tweets. In retrospect, it seems impossible to overstate the cultural damage done by South Park. The show that portrayed earnestness as the only sin and taught that mockery is the only ultimate inoculation against all criticism. I tweeted a pretty mild opinion about a TV show on my own personal Twitter account like a week ago, and I've been getting multiple death threats every day, like, lol, is there something that women are allowed to have an opinion on? So you have an opinion and you immediately act like a victim. That's the classic Anita Sarkeesian defense, I would say. Men really need to take a deep breath with a screenshot from a comment. So where on your Instagram is there a mention that you're passionate about comics? That's actually valid criticism. In a medium where frauds are spotted like criminals casing a banks, how do you truly believe you'll write something interesting? I would say good luck, but that would imply you give a S about beyond your own upward mobility. So how about you don't F up an iconic character created by a company that has grown the IP for nearly 50 years? That's another good and valid argument. She continues, oh no, he doubled down. The point of my seething protest is that I can smell the disingenuousness, agenda-driven persona, and I would like the writer to the stunning and brave guts to tell me why she's motivated to write about a comic character. Sure hope that answer isn't only about cash and feminist agenda, because that would be selfish, wouldn't it? That's actually a really good point as well. I mean, if you're so passionate about She-Hulk and the comic book industry, I just watched a video from Clownfish Media, and they Clownfish TV, and they actually pointed something really interesting out to me that I didn't know. That a lot of comic book artists and writers, they basically earn nothing and earn like $12,000 a year, so it's not even a livable wage. And you see a lot of these rich people like Cable Smith, who wrote the New Warriors with Safe Space and Snowflake, and he's a millionaire. So he can these people that are millionaires come into comic book industry and just take it over and do whatever they want and use it as a playground to basically insert agenda that they think should be there. Like the son of J.J. Abrams is also writing a Spider-Man comic. Now, how is this not nepotism? This is basically not even the best person for the job. It's just because your dad's rich and he can probably pay for your internship or whatever for your comic. You get a shot at basically writing Spider-Man, and the sales were down compared to Spawn 300, the first issue of Spider-Man. That's really bad. That's really bad. Earnest question: do male writers deal with this? Also, imagine seriously believing anyone got into comics for the money, lol. It's a connected medium with a character driven by its original source material. My question is this: why are you interested beyond the money? What makes you want to write about She-Hulk when you're clearly not interested in that genre? That's I mean, the males also. How can she make this a gendered issue when when men, the Kibblesmiths of the world, Dan Slotts and the others who have basically destroyed the comic industry, they get just the same amount of flack that she does, but because she's a woman, she is exempt from this criticism. The idea that I need to somehow prove my worthiness in order to work in a certain genre is incredibly toxic and also sexist. The only people to whom I need to explain my experience, my credentials, and my passion are the people that hired me. No. It's the people that buy your comics. That's where you get it wrong. Fan gatekeeping is profoundly toxic subculture. The people who think enjoying a thing gives them ownership of it. No, it kind of does, because you're the one writing the comic for them. So, and if they don't buy it, you should suffer the consequences for it, because it's bad writing. Okay, I'm only posting this here to show this guy has finally shown his whole ass. He's terrified at the prospect that a woman might actually genuinely love writing the same characters he enjoys. It would share his worldview apart. That's a straw man from his point of view. It's fine, Dana. Most human beings will not be watching your She-Hulk. To answer your question, when people bought comics, they were excited about the creators. Jim Lee, for example, a man but Asian that should temper your rage, was inspiring to young readers, girls and boys. The reason he was inspiring, he was driven and passionate just about the characters he created and stories he told that fit the classic storytelling tropes. When he created the image of with Liefeld and McFarlane, etc., they made a lot of money. The passion drove the profit. Most comic success stories stem from the fact that the writer is creating something out of joy, not hate or agenda. What have I created? Nothing. That's not my job. However, I'm the consumer of the products you are going to try to sell to me. My larger point, wouldn't it be easier for you to write the stories you want to write and not to try to force your way into? It cut off the actual statement. Way into an industry full of consumers who don't want the as you write. Again, this is really, really good criticism if you ask me. And she hand waves it. She has continued in the second article. Oops, that's why I forgot to turn off my phone. And that's from Eurotrip, by the way. So I like that ringtone. You have the same person comparing the pandemic to the rise of Skywalker, which is just lovely, don't you think? The pandemic is going to be like Rise of Skywalker. It's a nightmare. It's going to be a struggle, but then we're going to get over and come out the other side and pretend it never happened. Also, we're not going to be able to fully grasp what went down without reading a ton of extra literature. Okay. In retrospect, it seems impossible to overstate the cultural damage done by that I read. So they used this same tweet in this article. But so she compares something deadly to a lot of people to a movie. That's just lovely. And then we have also her. I came across this because Movie Bob retweeted this. So I don't know what was worse. I posed the questions to KIA. What is worse? Is it Bob simping or this actual tweet? It says every straight relationship with a tweet from Muppets with Nicole Kidman, and I can't remember off the top of my head what this guy is called, but he lives in the trash. And she continues, obviously we shouldn't ban all the books by white dudes. I think it just shows how people are so furiously and desperate attached to the canon that they respond to a slightly hyperbolic point made in half jest with such vitriol. Come on, no high schoolers do not need to read Ernest Hemingway. The sun will not fall from the sky. If another generation of students don't fake the way through, the sun also rises. Our ideas what the important books are wasn't built in a vacuum. They were created back in a time when books by women and people of color were inherently thought of as lesser. The gatekeepers were white men and were biased in favor of their own perspective. Well, most authors, I think, are men. Especially from, should Stephen King just give up his new books to and give it to women and claim they wrote it? I mean, yeah. We need to kill the Western canon. That's just riveting. The literary canon as it exists is racist and patriarchal, and it keeps reinforcing itself. Jesus freaking Christ. You know what's great? No novels by white men in high schools for the next 20 years. Yeah, Jesus. Okay, deep breaths. Let's go through this slowly because this film is, I guess, as you said, exclusively for men. Sure, men need to be protected from the horror of a woman who is 60 years old. So where does that leave us? She is just lovely. Talking about Top Gun. Do you see how objectifying that is? Men can get fat, bald, and age, but since women are not people, merely objects. What the F? Objects to bolster a male-aimed fantasy. If they're not desirable, they are literally worthless, or worse than worthless. How is that worse? That doesn't even make sense. Because they ruin the fantasy. Do you see how objectifying that is? Oh, it's listed twice. That was a editing error by Bounding Into Comics. Most men aren't aware of the energy, time, and money that women are forced to spend, especially as they age, in order to be palatable to society built around male expectation. Women don't put on makeup for men. It's for themselves or other women. That's just fact. Also, white men should be banned from teaching literature until 15 women win the Nobel Prize for literature in a row. Wow. So we need affirmative action, basically, to win prizes. A note to all men, please never give me advice on how to punch up my tweets. Honestly, so much of Twitter is men commenting on my jokes with less funny versions of the same jokes. Well, that's subjective, isn't it? Look, I'm saying we should ban all men from writing. Wait, yeah, I'm saying that actually. Jesus Christ. Holy. My favorite thing about Ralph Breaks the Internet is that it figured out who the real villain of the internet is. Insecure, needy men who think women belong to them. Jesus. This is just toxic as hell. Women have to flay themselves open and bear all of their trauma and vulnerability in public just so we can beg men to care the slightest bit. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. How can you spew this garbage? Some of the worst men I've ever encountered are nerds who didn't get girls when they were younger. When they became successful and now see themselves as commodities they're entitled to. I believe I learned something from every relationship I'm in, and usually that I have low self-esteem and bad taste in men. Well, that's your own fault, isn't it? Jesus. This woman is insane. And she is hired by Marvel, and she is allowed to spew this garbage on Twitter. This is why people don't buy comic books. It's as simple as that. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.